Welcome to Sociology Visualized. The historical method is one of the foundational approaches in social science research. It involves the systematic collection, evaluation, and interpretation of past events to understand patterns, structures, and transformations in society. Unlike experimental or survey methods, the historical method does not deal with controlled variables or contemporary data. Instead, it reconstructs social reality through traces left behind in time. At its core, the historical method answers a fundamental sociological question: how did the present come to be what it is? Nature and scope of the historical method. The historical method is not merely about narrating past events. It is analytical, interpretative, and explanatory. It seeks to uncover causal relationships, contextual meanings, and long-term processes. Its scope includes study of institutions such as family, state, religion, and economy across time. Analysis of social change and continuity. Reconstruction of cultural practices and belief systems. Understanding the evolution of power structures and inequalities. For instance, the transition from feudalism to capitalism in Europe is not just a sequence of events but a transformation in class relations, production systems, and social consciousness. Sources of historical data. The reliability of historical research depends heavily on sources. These are broadly classified into primary and secondary sources. Primary sources include official records such as government documents, census data, court records. Personal documents like letters, diaries, autobiographies. Archival materials, manuscripts, and inscriptions. Newspapers and contemporary reports. Secondary sources include books, articles, and previous research interpretations. Historical commentaries and analyses. For example, a study of colonial India may use British administrative reports as primary sources and later historians' interpretations as secondary sources. Steps in the historical method. The historical method follows a rigorous process. Selection of problem. The researcher identifies a specific historical issue or question, such as the emergence of nationalism in India. Heuristic phase, collection of sources. Relevant documents and materials are gathered from archives, libraries, and databases. Source criticism. This is a crucial stage involving two types of evaluation. External criticism, authenticity of the source. Internal criticism, credibility and meaning of the content. For example, a colonial officer's report must be critically examined for bias, as it may reflect imperial interests. Interpretation. The researcher analyzes the data to identify patterns, causes, and consequences. Synthesis and writing. The findings are organized into a coherent narrative or analytical framework. Key features of the historical method. Contextual analysis. Events are understood within their specific social, cultural, and political contexts. Diachronic approach. Focus on processes over time rather than static snapshots. Non-repeatability. Historical events cannot be replicated, making interpretation central. Dependence on records. The method relies on available evidence, which may be incomplete or biased. Examples of historical method in sociology. Study of the Industrial Revolution. Sociologists analyze how the Industrial Revolution transformed labor relations, urbanization, and class structures. It helps explain the rise of the working class and capitalist economy. Caste system in India. Historical analysis traces the evolution of caste from ancient texts to colonial codification and post-independence transformations. Nationalism and freedom movements. The Indian freedom struggle is studied through speeches, letters, and political documents to understand mass mobilization and identity formation. Example: the Partition of India, 1947. A historical study of partition examines political negotiations between leaders, communal tensions and colonial policies, personal narratives of migration and violence. This helps explain not just the event, but its long-term impact on identity, borders, and memory. Strengths of the historical method. Deep understanding of social processes. It reveals how institutions and structures evolve over time. Contextual richness. Provides detailed and nuanced insights into social life. Explains origins of contemporary issues. Many current social problems, such as inequality or conflict, have historical roots. Limitations of the historical method. Incomplete and biased sources. Historical records may be selective or distorted. Subjectivity in interpretation. Different historians may interpret the same event differently. Lack of control over variables. Unlike experiments, causal relationships are inferred, not tested. Dependence on available evidence. What is not recorded cannot be studied. Historical method and sociological thinkers. Karl Marx used historical analysis to develop historical materialism, explaining social change through modes of production and class struggle. Max Weber employed historical method in studying the relationship between religion and capitalism, particularly in his work on the Protestant ethic. Emil Durkheim used historical data to study the evolution of social solidarity from mechanical to organic forms. Contemporary relevance. Even in the age of big data and advanced analytics, the historical method remains indispensable. It is widely used in policy analysis, development studies, cultural and identity research, post-colonial studies. For example, understanding present-day communal tensions in India requires examining their historical roots in colonial divide and rule policies. Conclusion: history as sociological insight. The historical method is not about the past alone, it is about connecting past, present, and future. It teaches that social reality is not static but shaped by continuous processes of change and struggle. By critically engaging with history, sociologists uncover the deep structures that shape human behavior and social organization. The method reminds us that to understand society fully, we must look not only at what is visible today but also at the long trajectory that produced it. If you found this lecture helpful, do like, subscribe and share this video. Thank you.